evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about our club, Google WW7ATS. WW7ATS, that'll take you to our home page. There you'll find a little information on the club, the frequencies we transmit, and a little bit about our nets. Also, there will be a link on our home page that will take you to YouTube, where we stream our meetings on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. We'd also like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR, the 08 machine, 147.08 and 103.5. So with that, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before our net gets fully underway this evening. Hearing none, again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. So far checked into the net is Ron, KD7QKU by video link. Also by video link, Jessica, KF7UHK, and Richard, K7ITX by video link, and myself, Dave, KD7CYM. Is there anybody else who would like to check into the net this evening? What you see is what there is tonight. So let's start off the net rolling with Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Okay, well thank you very much, KD7CYM and the group. This is KD7QKU Ron over in Tacoma, where we had 59 degrees a minute ago. It's kind of a cool evening. It was a rather nice day. I did mow the lawn last Thursday. I have people mow it every 2 weeks, but it's been growing by leaps and bounds. Last Thursday, it was pouring down rain and the lawn was so tall. They just kind of made a mess out of it. I mean, they mowed it, but they left grass, all over because their lawnmowers were plugging up and they were walking on it, and so they mashed it down and then it didn't mow. So I decided, I raised my lawnmower up a click. They cut it a little bit taller than I do, and it's nicer a little bit taller, so I raised my lawnmower up a click and went over it and cleaned it up a lot. There was places where the excess grass had accumulated and they didn't really pick it up, and the grass was almost dying in those spots when I removed it. So anyway, but it's going to be fine. So what else happened? Well, we had ordered a new living room window and we had ordered a new patio door. And so today was the day they were going to put them in. They got the patio door put in, but they didn't get to the living room window. And we have a shade that rolls up in the window. It's like a Venetian blind with a see-through curtain in it. It's kind of a nice thing. Joanne chose it. It really works fine. But the guy decided that they'd like to have it removed, and I don't know how to remove it necessarily. So I put a call into the company in here in Tacoma. The lady that was there didn't really know how to take it down either. She said, I'm looking at one, but I don't know how to do it. So she was going to talk to the guy that installed it. Maybe he might even drop by and take it down. I don't know. But I told her we probably need it down soon. So with bifocals and everything, it's a little bit hard anymore to look up in behind things and try to figure out how to release it. But anyway, I guess if push comes to pull, I'm going to have to get a ladder and a flashlight
I was doing, and he's still keeping that bucket with him in the bathtub, which is something I would probably do too, just for auxiliary flushing purposes. Let's see, Juneteenth, we're celebrating on Monday, at least our shop up that drives buses, so I get that day off because I'm part of the admin group because I'm not actually driving a route. If I had a route, I might be working that day and then getting paid for it also on top of that, but I'm just on admin, so I'll just get that day off, paid day off. That's fantastic. Sylvie does not get that day off because she's working for the big airplane company and it's not in their part of their contract, so she doesn't get that day off. So I get to do something completely all by myself on Monday. It's going to be so refreshing. We mowed the lawn on Sunday, and it was really nice. We have a multi-mower, so it leaves everything behind. We don't mind because it's better than the weeds that was growing before. We used to have these giant tall weeds that was just covered in weeds, but we've kind of battled them till now we have a pretty good lawn. So with that, I'm going to pass it back.
WW7ATS. Let's go to Richard and Kent, K7ATS.
Since I can't see everybody right now, with my screen is blocked with the YouTube completely, so I'm just gonna unkey and yell at me if you can't hear me. Yelled. Okay, anyway, here's me fine. Thank you very much. So, there's James. Okay, hi James. So, gee whiz, I actually have quite a bit to report. Having had a big event in Shelton, Washington over the weekend, but Ron got us started on cutting the grass, so I'll let you guys know a little bit later what happened on Sunday. I think you kind of know, I think I told you we won on Saturday, but anyway, as far as the grass goes, though, yeah, no, it's been growing, I mean, it's just crazy, out of control growing. So, we were talking about these 40-volt Ryobi electric brushless motor lawnmowers that you can get. Well, we got one. I bought it yesterday, and anyway, we bought it yesterday, but for just the one I was going to buy was $300, but just for $50 more, and they were $200, but just for $50 more, you could get it with self-propulsion. So you just pull a little handle, and it motors itself. So all you have to do is steer it. You don't have to push it. And considering my oh my goodness, what do you want to call it? 110.9, Jessica. That's right, 110.9 is the PL tone, so that anyone on Echo can hear us. My shortness of breath now and things of that nature, and that's not going to get any better. Okay, yeah, I got it. Right, no, it's 103.5. I'm all screwed up, Jessica. Don't listen to me, listen to James. No, yeah, it is 103.5 for Cougar Mountain to get Echolink. I don't know why I agreed with the 110.9. No, it's 103.5. My shortness of breath, it seemed like the prudent thing to do is to spend the extra $50 and get the Ryobi electric motor, brushless motor. I guess brushless means that the brushes won't wear out on the motor. But anyway, I think I've worn this record out till it's all scratched up. So with that, KD7ZYM, K7ITX, back to net control.
signed on. WW7N, are you there? WW7N, we don't want to have you listed as a silent key. In big TV time, the sign goes up on the screen saying, "Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. Please stand by." And this is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Oh my, a lot of things. The main theme seems to be mowing lawns today, with Ron, Jessica, and Richard. And you know, when it says brushless on his mower, that means you can't use it to mow brush. So anyway, I guess it's just for grass. You won't be able to go out and cut the brush down since it's brushless. And for me, well, mowing lawns, that was yesterday. I did too. So anyway, that was great. But I did manage to fill up the trunk, and the whole back seat of the car was stuffed. I think I'd probably say there was about 5 Apple boxes worth of stuff I donated and got rid of. So I'm starting to have a pathway in my basement now, so I can get from one side of the basement to the other. But my gosh, I'm amazed at how much that stuff accumulates. Let's see, 60 degrees, overcast here in Lake City. So that's about it. And out of curiosity, I looked up my call sign tonight at ARRL, and I see I have an expiration of 3/1/24, so I'm still good for a couple more years until I have to renew. So I was worried about that. I thought it was beginning to be about time, but I've got more time. So that's about what's happening here in Lake City. This is Dave, KD7CYM. So let's go back up to the top to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dave. This is Ron, KD7QKU again. Well, I forget when we talked last. I guess we probably talked on Saturday, and I told you that I had Jose came over and put some gravel in next to the gravel that I have, and it extends now north towards the back fence all the way up to the trees. So I covered up this dirt area that had weeds and stuff in it. Got the weeds out first. So I was thinking I was pretty much done around here, but then all of a sudden I was out in the garage and I saw that we have a locking mailbox, and we use it in Bellevue, and we brought it with us. So I decided that if we were going to go someplace in the motorhome, it might be nice to have the locking mailbox. So I decided to take the other one down and put the locking mailbox up, which wasn't too bad a job. The old one came down real easy. So it was a wooden post. In Bellevue, I had a steel pipe set in cement, and then I had a plate welded on top of it, and the mailbox was bolted to that, with the nuts inside. So if someone wanted to tear the mailbox off the post, it would be pretty difficult. But here, bracket on the other side, and I would bolt it into the back of the mailbox, and then I'd bolt the other one, through the bottom of the mailbox, and then bolt the two together through the 4x4. Sounded like a good idea. And I drilled one hole, came out pretty good, matched up with the bracket on both sides, and then I started at the top hole, and lo and behold, I hit the screw, or screws, or whatever it was inside the post, snapped off the drill bit right inside the post. You guys can imagine how that is. So the drill bit was only about halfway through, so then I had to go around on the other side and figure out where it might come out and try to drill in, and then I had to take a punch and try to punch it out. Of course, I missed alignment, and I punched and I didn't hit anything, and so then I had to get a flashlight and I had to make the hole a little bit bigger. I had drilled just a little bit to the left of the drill bit, so finally I saw it and I was able to punch it out, and then I was able to complete my task, but it must have taken me an hour to get that out of there and mess around. So, a little job turns into a real project sometimes. So, back to net, KD7QKU.
QKU, thanks for that. Let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
Many of my projects where I start something and thinking this is going to be easy, and either I end up not having something or something just doesn't go quite like you imagined it in your dreams. So I fully understand that. Am I coming through easier or better than I was before? Everybody? Okay, good. Excellent. Well, let's see. In Death Valley today for your weather report, it was it's 105 right now in Death Valley. Tomorrow we're looking at a high of 117. Phoenix, right now we're looking at 101 degrees right now in Phoenix, Arizona, and we're looking at tomorrow or next Wednesday at 109 degrees. Right now outside the KF7UHK studios is 58 degrees and cloudy. I made some hamburgers today and threw some ketchup on top and cooked them very nicely in the oven, and now I'm making some rice to go with it. So I'm going to send it back. This is KF7UHK.
UHK. Let's go to Port Angeles to a minus tide, N7KC.
Okay, testing 1, 2, 3. I make it? Great. Alright, it's N7KC here, Lee in Port Angeles, and yes indeed, we had a minus 3.5 today, and as soon as I found that out, which was shortly before it was at its low here, we jumped in the car and headed for the hook. And we went out on Edis Hook and hiked on the north side of it, down further than we'd ever been before. My goodness, it's really out there. And then the other side, where the power boats come in and tie up, they have a barge, and they tie up on either side of a barge, and under the shore, I guess you could call it shore, was exposed right up to a little hole on either side of the barge where they could pull those boats in. So it was really low. And we didn't have any wind today. The last 2 days we've had a pretty hefty wind here. It undid every bit of raking I did about a week and a half ago. We had an enormous amount of stuff from the madronas, the cedars, and the firs here that went to, in fact, 2 weeks, or actually a whole month's worth went. Well, over the month we got rid of it all, in the yard waste when they take it and so forth. Well, you wouldn't believe I'd rake anything right now. So it's a big mess. And I didn't do a darn thing in the yard today. I didn't mow nothing. Anyway, I had some other projects to do. We went over to Sunny Farms near Squim, and they got some really nice vegetables and some special bird seed and stuff that Paul wanted. And then I had a couple of little pet projects that I worked on today. So maybe, and it's raining right now. it's 53 degrees and raining. It started a couple of hours ago. It's raining pretty hard right now, and so forth. So, well, anyway, I'm out of time. So I'm a little late getting here, but I was into a news show that I had to finish. I was compelled to finish before he picked up. So I made it. That's it for me. Dave, back to you. This is N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles.
Connected, WU7N.
Okay, thanks for that. Again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
All right, it's good to see Lee made it. So Lee, I don't know if you heard, I ended up buying the Ryobi electric lawnmower, the 40 volt. But they have the one on sale for only $50 more with the self-propulsion. So we ended up getting that. Just thinking of a year or two down the road where I could probably appreciate the assistance. I get this shortness of breath that's half on me. But the good news is the YL. She just says, I love it. So that was, if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have got this to begin with. I mean, we have in my mind, a perfectly fine gasoline lawnmower. Maybe you don't know me very well, but I generally run things into the ground to where they're just a piece of, they can just barely work before I finally give it up and get something new. So I think that's what the YL was worried about, but no, she's really thrilled. And all you have to do is press a button and it starts right up. None of this choking or additives or priming the pump or any of that stuff. So it looks like it's going to be awfully convenient now. She doesn't have to ask me to start it for her anymore. So anyway, as far as the sports car race went, as you probably know, we won first place on Saturday, and so we were looking pretty excited about Saturday. In fact, the morning warm-up and qualifications, the Porsche 911 that was giving us the most trouble, sadly, he crashed hard and took himself out for the Sunday feature. And but oh my God, we went out for the Sunday feature. The temperature gauge started going crazy on us, and it was a really cold day, so we had some cardboard on the front radiator because believe it or not, the engine was running too cold. But then it started getting a little erratic. We ended up quitting early, came in, didn't finish the race, and I don't know, it seemed like our coolant was getting in the oil again, kind of like down in Sonoma. It's the end of the day, end of the week, and end of the event, so we weren't about to tear everything down, try to figure it all out, but you had some pretty sad faces. The cylinder wall is cracked, the block is cracked, then the motor is junk. Sad part is we just paid $10,000 for it. We have another one coming for $10,000, but no, it's a very expensive sport. These authentic Nissan engines, I don't know, there's only so many, and they're old. So with that, KD7ZYM, K7ITX, back to net control.
WW7ATS, Richard. Well, good news is you won 1 out of 2, so that's about 50%, which is pretty good. Well, let's move on down to James, WU7N, and let's see if Echo Link is going to work.
Well, thank you. Okay, so I'm on Echo Link. I'm not quite sure what happened tonight. Again, didn't change anything. But oddly, I could not hear Jessica's first transmission. I hear it just fine now. And also on mine, I don't know what's different. Again, the mystery. But anyway, Ron, it sounds like you're having lots of exciting adventures. I heard you got a new window, and we're trying to take something down. And then also you were grass cutting or something, and you had to clean up grass in addition to the massive mailbox project. So it sounds like you're pretty active out there right now. Let's see, Richard, you make me smile. You sound like the Ronco commercial. But wait, there's more. Remember that? For $50 more, you can get one that has self-propelling. But wait, there's more. For only $50, you can get one you ride on. But wait, there's more. For only $50 more, you can get the robot that'll take you around. You just go on for the ride and sightseeing in your own mowing yard. Also, brushless motors are interesting. What that means is the brushes will never wear out, but the bearings will. So brushless motor, rather than saying it's a bearing motor where the bearings will wear out, they just call it a brushless motor. It's kind of a little marketing thing there. Let's see, and temperature variations. Jessica, you left out the most important city to the Texas economy, Ciudad de Juarez, just on the other side of the border from El Paso. It's 95 degrees and clear right now at Ciudad de Juarez. I guess you have to live in Texas to understand that. Let's see, low tide. Now, yeah, you understand it's low tide, so do you drive your car out there to catch the low tide? And oh no, okay, I was wondering, just like a game of chicken with the ocean, you drive your car out there and see if you can make it back? I was wondering how this was working. But maybe clue us in on that. And Richard, you did make us all smile. I know you just kind of fell out. You don't have to start a lawnmower for your wife anymore. I thought that you got to keep her there. I mean, that's the biggest requirement is to start the lawnmower so she can mow the lawn. Oh man, I want to know if she has a sister and is she single. Well, anyway, that's James here, and let's see, I got a new challenge here. Tomorrow, see if I can make a normal 2-meter contact. See what's different. It's a bit puzzling. So the 1.2 gig picture is coming in just absolutely brilliant tonight. On a scale of 1 to 5, it's a solid 4.5, I'd say, for an NTSC signal. So with that, let me turn it back to our net control, Dave, for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Take it away, Dave.
WU7N, thanks for that. And it's ID time again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Oh my, a lot of things happening there, but I mean, I've got to commend Richard for buying his wife a lawnmower for Father's Day. I think that is the greatest coup to pull off for the evening anyway. And she seems to be happy with that too, on top of that. So I guess you can sell refrigerators to an Eskimo. So anyway, good luck with your salesmanship in the future. And that's about what is happening here is a lot of lawn work. I did find, let's see, for the food report for the day, I got a flyer from a supermarket, and they had T-bone steak on sale, Fred Meyer's, for $4.77 a pound, and I was saying, that's cheaper than hamburgers. So I went and investigated it, and I went Wednesday evening, and they didn't have any. So today, I went back, and they had it out on the shelf, so I ended up netting about 4 T-bone steaks. So anyway, they look good in the package. I don't know what they're going to be like when I go to chew into them at that price. It might be rather tough, who knows. But it's full-size T-bone, so it did have the good cut on the left side of the T-bone. So anyway, something should be tender there. But back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
We saw Dave called, sent me a text last night pointing out the ad. We looked and we had it, but we didn't go to the store today, but maybe we'll try it tomorrow. But I could use a few steaks. We haven't had much in the way of like barbecued steaks for a couple of years, it seems like. I usually get the country spare ribs. They seem to have those on sale, so we have those quite often. Last time I bought 6 packages, and as you know, there's quite a few of them in one package, so you get more than one meal out of a package. So, Richard, I think that was a good move, getting self-propelled for you or for Debbie, especially for Debbie. I think she'll really enjoy it. And you have a pretty good sized backyard, if I remember right. And then you have all that new grass in front of you. You have a pretty good sized lot, I believe. So anyway, what else is going on? I told you that they put the door in, and they didn't put the window in. They ran out of time. And I'm going to have to see about getting that shade down. It must be simple. But it's just, you know, if you know how, it's simple. If you don't know how, it's complicated. So anyway, I'll figure it out, I guess, or maybe they'll call me, or the guy will come by, or something will happen. So what else? Gee, I just don't have much else besides mowing and pulling a few weeds and watching the guys work on the patio door. That's about all I did. The day passed quickly. I don't know if it's sprinkling rain out or not. It could be. The road looks a little bit dark. It tried to sprinkle a little bit of rain here about 4 o'clock. But let up, so that was nice. So let's see, that's about it, I guess. I probably need to fertilize my lawn again, believe it or not. I'm wondering about one of those. I have a drop spreader. I'm thinking maybe one of the other type of spreaders might work pretty good. I seem to leave streaks in the yard when I use the drop spreader. I either miss or overlap or something. So anyway, but I don't know. I like a nice yard. I don't know what the water bill is going to be here, because we do have a sprinkler system, and I'm probably going to turn it on for a while when it gets hot. All right, back to that KD7QKU.
QKU. Let's go on to Jessica, KF7UHK. Learning how to get paid by not working. What a deal.
For sure. I think it was William Shatner, in some offhanded way, they wanted water in like California or somewhere, one of those states that has a water problem, thought that we could just put pipes in between Washington State and California and just ship some of our water down there. I think he was doing it tongue-in-cheek, but it was really funny to hear. So there, we have lots of water. We have lots of extra water. T-bone steaks, let's see, if I had that steak, I might take it and score it. Just take a knife and go score on one side, and then I'd take it on the opposite side and score a different grain on it, and then I'd stick it into the broiler as hard as I can get my electric broiler, and just do one side just till everything starts to really caramelize, and then flip it over just for a little bit and make sure it's done inside, and that's the way I do it. I usually get a pretty good medium rare. That's how I do it, and then lots of ketchup or something, and butter. So, you know, none of these are really heart healthy recipes that I will give you at all. So I just want to remind you of that. Let's see. Nissan engines. My last car was our Nissan Leaf, but before that we had the Nissan something. Very nice car. Love that car. But right now we have one of these Infinity cars, and it's also basically a Nissan, but it's like the souped up Nissan. It's made by Nissan, the Infinity cars, and I'll tell you, in eco mode it feels like as fast as my Mustang was in get up and go, and that's not even in the normal setting or the sport setting, which just sounds like it puts in extra pistons when it runs. So that's what I think of Nissan is. I think they're usually pretty good, but I don't race my cars. With that, I'm going to pass it back. KF7, UHK.
You
Okay, we're hot here in 7KC, Lee and PA. Well, first, driving on the beach north of the hook, no way. The only way you could get a car down there would be a result of a terrible accident. And then there's no place. There's pretty rocky. The whole Edis Hook, of course, it's a natural phenomenon, which was the result of the Elwha River depositing something there for millennia, and then when they dammed the Elwha, the hook started to kind of disappear. So the Army Corps of Engineers and the city and whatnot went in there, and they millions of tons of riprap, really big rocks that they piled up and bolstered it. And then so that's near the road. And then when you climb, there is a passage, a couple of places through those down to the beach. No way near enough. You could get a bicycle down there, but you couldn't get a car ever. And then there's a little bit of beach showing, but it's pretty pebbly. And then the rocks, when you get a really low tide like this, there's a whole bunch more rocks show up down there. And so it's kind of an interesting walk down there. A lot of people go down to check that out. Brushless motors, what a nice thing. You know, brushed motors, you know, the lawnmower is a 3-phase AC, although it wouldn't be a brushless. No, that can't be right. If it's brushless, it has to be a DC motor. Or if it has brushes, they're brushless, so it's actually a DC motor. They have a plane of commutation that's a function of the load on the motor. And so you need to really get maximum performance out of that, you need to be able to rotate the plane of commutation. And with a fixed brush system on a DC motor, that's really hard to do. There are motors that you can do that to minimize sparking and whatnot. But electronically, that's an easy thing to achieve when you just have no brushes, but you have optical sensors to commutate the motor. So anyway, it's really a nice idea. The drive mechanism on that, it sounds like if you've got the 640-volt battery, I just ran out of time, but it sounds to me like you're not going to get the full battery life that I get, that I enjoy on mowing, because you're going to have to supply some drive energy to the wheels, and that's got to subtract from the overall performance in terms of actually getting the job done, and that's mowing. But the mower itself will do a lovely job. It's really very nice. With that, I'm going to quit. Back to you, Dave, in 7KC, Lee in Port Angeles.
7KC, thanks for the ID time. Again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. So let's go to Richard in Kent, K7ITX.
Yeah, no, you're right. In fact, that was in my research looking at reviews of the lawnmower. That was a cautionary note that you don't get the same time with your lawnmower because of the using the propulsion system. Clearly takes away some of the stored up energy. However, it did just fine. Cutting the backyard had plenty of juice in the battery to do the entire backyard, and so that was fine. And so we called it a night with that. And we know it'll do fine in the front yard. The front yard's actually smaller than the backyard. So, and I don't envision us desperately wanting to cut both the front and the back in one day anyway. But that was, that's a good point. And I guess you could spend another couple $100 on another battery that's recharged, ready to go. There is a swap to put that and store a second battery. So, but I don't think so. At least not for now, anyway. I don't think it'll be fine. If you could help me a little bit, I'm trying to understand this shade you're talking about. Maybe I just didn't understand what you're describing when you first told us about this, but I can't. You called it as like a Venetian blind or something, and did it come with the house, or did it come with the new patio door? I'm just dying of curiosity now about this shade that you want to get removed. And James, the issue with Jessica is she was using, I think, a 110.9 PL tone, and so that would be why she was saying, oh, can you hear me better now with the 103.5? And that would be why Lee or anybody on Echolink wouldn't be able to hear Jessica, and maybe that's why you couldn't hear her. But anyway, and one last point. I have missed Joel and I have missed John, the two other hams that visited for a while. I didn't want to I noticed they quit checking in, so I didn't want to bug them to death with email invitations twice a week. But I sure don't mind throwing their name back in the hopper and trying to get enticed, and maybe if I say something cute, that might get their attention, and we'll get them to check in. So thanks for bringing their names up, and we'll look into it. And that's about all I have for right now, Kate. This is going back to KD7ZYM, K7ITX, back to net control.
7ITL, Richard. Well, let's move to Bellevue, to James, WU7N.
Okay, this is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Lee, thank you for the clarification on that, and I am going to do some reading on that. I didn't know the Army Corps of Engineers was involved in that. That's kind of interesting to me over the years what they have done. And let's see, Richard, thank you for your comments. But I was actually listening to Jessica, her first transmission on my ICOM 706 Mark IIG, and could not understand. So, but if I understand everybody correctly, everybody else could hear her just fine. Is that correct on the first transmission that Jessica made tonight? So it was just me here. And the other weird thing is that when I tried to key up, I got a really strange reaction. My monitor started clicking over and over again, and the screen was like the scan was all messed up on it. And as I said, it's kind of odd because I don't know what has changed here. So apparently I've got a new problem to research out. Well, I've been having some fun with game cameras in my neighborhood. My association got a couple of these, and I said why? Because the original problem was mailbox theft, and I don't see how that's going to stop anything. But I have to admit, last night or yesterday, we had a mentally ill person come in. I guess the police know about him, and I was kind of looking for him. And these little cameras I've been managing got some really nice pictures of him. But I don't know. All it did is confirm that, yeah, it's the same person. So I guess they do have some value as long as you control expectations and what they can do. But if you are interested, Walmart has these things on clearance now for something like $30. So in particular, the ones I got had a little place that you could, if you had 110 volts, you could get a wall wart and power them. And if all you're doing is taking still frame pictures, a 32 gigabyte memory card can be very slow and crappy and cheap and still work. And so you're down to what, $35 or something for a little camera. Unfortunately, we don't have electricity for these. They have to run off rechargeables, and that's kind of a hassle. You have to keep recharging them every week. So anyway, so those have been somewhat amusing, and that's just keeping track of the urban wildlife. Yeah, like what Lee's got there, something like that. Well, that looks like much nicer one than we have. Anyway, I see we're coming up 10 minutes to the hour here, so this is James WU7N
I'll turn it back over to our net control, KD7ZYM.
7N, and this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, with Ron and that window work, it sounds like it's sort of a shady deal they've got going with him, trying to replace whatever that covering is on his window. So, anyway, beware of a shady deal. That's what I've always said. So, anyway, I wish him luck on getting that done. And I've kind of run out of steam to actually talk about anything, but you know, with that lawnmower that Richard has with a 40-volt battery, if he's got the weed whacker that matches that, that's also a 40-volt battery, so you would have an extra battery. When I got mine, the 40-volt battery, if I wanted an extra, was only $100, so I guess they've gone up in price. I've had this for about 3 years, so anyway, I'll tell you, with that 40-volt battery, I can probably run 2 hours on that weed whacker around the exterior of the yard. I have yet to ever run it down. It just goes and goes and goes. And actually, it actually will cut a blackberry bush down. It's got that much power to it with the nylon cables, or cutting cables, or cutting, what do you want to call them, the mechanism that goes inside that is used for cutting. Anyway, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, so we'll go up to the top to Ron, KD7QKU.
Thank you very much, Dave. KD7QKU here. Well, Richard, it's an interesting blind curtain. So it has horizontal slats, and the horizontal slats have a white sheer curtain in them, between them. So you turn them so they're horizontal. They're always horizontal. So you turn them so they're directly open, and then you're looking at a sheer white curtain. And then you turn them so they're closed, and then they're closed. You can't see into the room. Or you can raise them, and when you raise them, they roll up at the top. They roll into a little box that goes across the top. So the whole box comes out. It's actually pretty nice. So you can have them, you know, any way you want them. You can have them up. You can have them up so you have, you know, half the window or 2/3 of the window with nothing, or you can have them down and you can have the sheer curtain. So it's nice, really. It's just that they wanted me to take it down from the top so they could put the new window in. And it has some brackets in it. It gets, there must be some way to release it from the bracket. I just haven't figured it out yet. So once I get that figured out, I think I can take a screwdriver and just pry it a little bit, or maybe a pair of pliers. But when, you know, with bifocals and looking overhead between the window and that box, there's only about an inch up there. It's really kind of hard to see. I was thinking about your car, Richard. You are going to probably run out of those blocks. And I would think that motor you bought, wouldn't be there some kind of a guarantee on it? I mean, goodness sakes, you know, you would think that you should have magnafluxed the block or something to make sure there wasn't any cracks in it. It doesn't sound to me like what you did would be enough to crack it, unless you got it extremely hot. But anyway, I don't know, $10,000 and then have it cracked block. I think there should be some recourse on that, but who knows. So, can you put a later model motor in it? You can't do that, okay. So, and the block's unrepairable. You can't weld it or anything. But sleeve, if it was in the cylinder, you know, you could sleeve the cylinder. But if it's not in the cylinder that's cracked, you can't sleeve it. There are some ways to fix them, but I don't know. I think, you know, cast iron can be welded. We used to do it at Metro Transit all the time. But anyway, all right. Well, back to that KD7QKU.
Let's put a message to KD7UHK in Everett.
My brother, my crazy brother, he put a skill saw blade on the end of his gas weed whacker, which is just dangerous as all heck. he was mowing down things in his big farmy kind of yard. And so luckily he never cut anybody's fingers or legs off. But it sounded like something from a movie. But I want to talk about two innovative things that we've had in our past. We haven't owned them particularly, but I've heard about them. One was a fly mow. It was a mower that didn't have wheels on it, and so the thing would just kind of glide over the grass, and that was kind of an innovative way to cut your grass, so the fly mow. But similar to that, you had the flow bee. And the flow bee was a hair cutting device that you hook up to your vacuum, and then as you put these things on these attachments onto the vacuum head, and you could just brush your hair, and it would automatically cut it to just the right length of whatever style you're trying to do. I had neither one of them, but I wouldn't mind a flow bee in these COVID days of COVID, or during that. It would have been handy. Other than that, I've got nothing else. KF7 UHK.
Say a cut above. Let's go to Lee in 7KC.
In 7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. So I do remember the Flymo. I never had one. The thing that puzzles me, how would you adjust the height of the cut on that? Because it was riding on a column of air, I think. And which is also in the wrong direction to pull the grass up and whack it off. So I really never, I guess I never looked into exactly what the performance was, but I used to see them advertised. The other gadgets for cutting your hair, I never saw anything like that. The vacuum must have pulled the hair out, and then the cutter was at some distance from your head, so you would get I don't know. When I was, maybe 6, I gave my sister a haircut once with clippers. Yeah, turn it right off. I got in big trouble for it too. I remember that to this day. Anyway, I don't really have anything to add, and we're getting down here to the end of the wire. So I won't come back to me, so let me give everybody else a chance. I'll say 7-3. Always fun. 10,000 block. Mercy. Anyway, back to you, Dave, in 7KC, Lee in Port Angeles.
7KC, let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
I think I heard Wade try to check in between transmissions. Yeah, want to give Wade a shout?
W7ITL, Wade, are you out there? W7ITL. No response. Let's go back to Richard, K7ITX.
There's 2 or 3 calls operators sent. So anyway, so gee whiz, yeah, it is getting down to the last 5 minutes. Ron, as far as you're taking this really nice set of blinds and sheer curtains down just for the installers, just for the window installers. You're good. That's why you're doing this, taking this down. Oh, you just want to get rid of it? You don't like it anymore? Oh, you have to tell me the whole story. I'm in the window business, and very rarely does anybody remove something in our way. So if you're just being a nice guy, that's pretty cool. So anyway, let's see. Last but not least, I did check into PSRG last night. K7 PG JT, Paul, well, there's a lot of guys at PSRG that I've talked to over the years, but it's probably been about, before the pandemic, I'd ever really checked in for any length of time with them, and I couldn't believe the response I got. A lot of people still remembered me, and it was really pretty fun to hear. Well, a lot of people miss my stories about golf. So one guy says, I don't know the first thing about golf anymore. Richard was the one that always kept me dialed in on what was going there. So it was pretty cool. I'll have to say hi to them again. There's a half a dozen old-timers still there that I really associate nicely with. So, all right, well, that's it for me for now. I'm tongue-tied tonight. KD7ZYM, K7ITX. Back to that control.
7ITX, Richard, thanks with that. Let's go to James, WU7N in Bellevue.
Oh my goodness, with 2 minutes left, I get the last word. Well, motor technology is something that just kind of left me behind, because I was watching a really interesting YouTube video the other day where someone is taking an old hard disk drive out of a computer and they're going to do something different with it. And I went, oh, well, this is going to be interesting because it's not just a DC motor that drives disk drives anymore. But I mean, you can buy anything off the internet. So, to me, this is an awesome what he eventually did is he took the platen off the hard drive and made a tabletop grinder out of it. But to drive that motor, he had to buy, essentially, a microprocessor-controlled hard disk drive or driver board, which you can buy from China. I think you can buy anything from China now. And he actually bought the board from China and then drove the motor directly on the hard disk drive. And, I mean, the board is this big. I looked it up on Amazon, and yes, you can do that. But it's an odd economy because you can buy buck converters and voltage converters, DC to DC voltage converters, less than you can buy just a linear component. You can buy the completely assembled board. I have right now some on my next order for $2.50 each. And I guess though, if you're buying thousands, the linear approach is still cheaper if you're buying and building thousands of something. But of course, you lose efficiency. Anyway, it looks like we're almost done. So this is James WU7N. Let's turn back to Dick, KD7ZYM for the evening wrap-up.
7N, thanks for that. And it's time to terminate the net for the evening. We'd like to thank the owners and operators of the 08 machine, CTAC Repeater Association, for utilizing WW7ATS, the repeater known as the 08 machine at 147.08. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, signing off, this is Dave, KD7ZYM at 9 o'clock. Good evening all.